What's going on, boys? Welcome back. Today we have a Surron ultrabee foot brake right here, Surron ultrabee caliper right there. And what I'm going to be showing you boys today is how to bleed your Surron ultrabee foot brake. Let's get straight into this. Step one, grab your Moto foot brake line. Either you purchased this from us or it came in your not bled kit. What we're going to do is take this 90-degree Banjo end and put it onto the master cylinder. Now, this 90-degree Banjo belongs on the master cylinder, whether you're using the normal one we send or the YZ, the upgraded. Either way, 90-degree Banjo always goes here facing up. So we're gonna take our Banjo bolt with one crush washer, right? And then take one more crush washer on the other side, and then we will lightly screw it in right here. All right, boys, one important thing to note, if you're using the YZ Master, there's gonna be a nub right here, right? You're gonna want this 90-degree Banjo to be on this side of the nub, but basically touching it. You want it to be like right here when you tighten it down. Now, if you're using the HSK that normally comes with the kit, you'll see there's no nub. You just want it to be in line with this. You never want it to be on the inside over here because it can hit your swing arm, and you don't really want it to be out here because you'll hit your ankle on it. So align it perfectly straight with this on the HSK, or just a little bit on this side of the nub with the YZ. Now you'll notice I just used an impact to tighten that down, right? So then I'm gonna take my hand ratchet and make sure, oh yeah, that's nice and tight. Make sure I have good torque on it. If you don't have good torque on this, there's a good chance you're gonna leak air in on one of these two spots where it seals right here, where we just put those two crush washers. Over here on the caliper itself, we're gonna take off this Banjo bolt and these two copper crush washers here. You're gonna wanna make sure that you put the Banjo bolt in. You don't want the Banjo bolt to be in like that because there's a chance that you're gonna get air hiding in your line. Make sure that you put your Banjo bolt in this orientation, put the second crush washer on, and then screw it into your caliper. I would not recommend you guys start these threads with an impact or a drill ever. Always do this part by hand so you don't strip anything. The next important little bit of this install is, regardless of where the bleeder valve is, always want to make sure that the Banjo itself right here, like the line, is facing the same direction as this pin. Perfectly straight like that. You don't want it to touch the caliper because this is gonna get hot, right? And you don't want the heat to transfer over to this. So you wanna make sure you leave a little space right in there like that. This is pretty much perfect. And then again, you're gonna wanna make sure you tighten this Banjo by hand. Very important. If you don't get enough torque on this bolt, just like the other one, it's gonna leak at one of these two crush washer points. You're gonna be bleeding for an hour, wondering why you're getting these tiny little air bubbles because it's leaking right here. All right, we're all ready to start the bleeding process, but I wanna say one thing before we start this. If you installed this kit on your bike and you're watching the video right now trying to bleed it, take that shit off your bike. I highly recommend that you bench bleed all of the foot brakes. Way better bleed, way less chance of getting bubbles stuck. When your kit is installed on your bike and there's no fluid in the line or the caliper or the master at all yet, it's very difficult to find those little bubbles and where they're hiding and get them out of there. A lot of people reach out to me and say, yo, I installed my foot brake, I'm trying to bleed it, it won't bleed. The problem is that it's installed on your bike. You have to bench bleed it like this if you want to get 100% of the air bubbles out, and you got to take your time when you bleed. So let's jump straight into the process. First things first, take off this cap, fill that up with your brake fluid. Gonna go right in there. Another thing I'd recommend, put a couple towels down on your workbench because there's a good chance you're about to get brake fluid all over the place and it will eat through. I've had it eat right through my jeans before because I left it on too long. I didn't go clean them. So I'm gonna take the caliper, right? I'm gonna put some fuel hose. I believe this is either 3 mil or 4 mil fuel hose. Gonna put it over the bleeder valve just like that. And then I'm gonna take my 8 mil wrench and crack that bleeder valve. Not quite a turn, about 3/4 of a turn. So the method here, right? This is full of fluid. And what we're doing is we're using pressure to get it all the way through this brake line, down, and then out the nipple. So we're gonna push down, tighten the nipple, let go. Open it again, push down, tighten, let go. Let me give you guys a close-up right here so you can see what's happening when I do that. I'm gonna come down here, grab my caliper, open the nipple, lever down, close the nipple, let go of the lever. You can see the brake fluid getting sucked through the line right now. So what we're about to do right now is continue this process that I just showed you a second ago until we're getting fluid coming out of this line. And you wanna make sure that this doesn't get low. You can see the sight glass is about there. Right now, the fluid is just about where the sight glass is. So I'm gonna fill it back up. So when I open the nipple, right, push down the lever, close the nipple, and then let go of the lever, right? I'm kind of watching to see when that fluid stops getting sucked in down there, and then I do it again. If you just keep going like, boom, 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 that's not gonna work. That's not doing it. What's happening, right, is when you're opening up the system. When you push down on the lever, boom, you can see it right there. That was perfect timing. Air and fluid comes out, right? And then I close the nipple, and then when I let go of the lever, the master cylinder forces this fluid to get sucked down through the line. So you gotta take it kind of slow with this part until you start getting it out just like that. All right, boys, so you saw in that last clip there, we're starting to get the fluid and the air to come out through here, right? So same process as before, do what I just did there, wait for the fluid to stop moving up here, boom, do it again. Now, what's gonna happen, right, is, shit. This is why I say to have the rag. So when that falls off, the fluid just goes into the rag, not all over your bench. What's gonna happen, right, is the fluid comes in right here on the caliper. Now, your bleeder valve's either gonna be here or here, doesn't matter which spot it's in, but that's where the air bubbles need to go to come out. So if I sit here and I hold it like this the whole entire time, right, the air bubbles should, right, just be able to go right through there. But the problem is, we didn't start with a caliper full of fluid because it doesn't work that way. So what's happening is there's air bubbles stuck over here on the top of this, and there's an air bubble stuck down here and one right here. You know what I mean? So what we gotta do is we gotta move around the caliper, bang it like that just a little bit. Because right now we got a little fluid out, we're getting some air bubbles still. It's not full of fluid yet at all. There's air bubbles all over in there. So we gotta work this baby, work some magic on it, shake it all over the place, move those air bubbles around and get them to move to this. So I'm just gonna kind of do my thing. We'll probably speed this portion up a little bit, but I'm gonna move it around, kind of show you guys what I do to get all those little air bubbles to come right out the bleeder valve. Let's keep going. Clearly you can see what I'm doing is working, so we keep getting these bubbles to come out. Oh, there's a bunch of bubbles right there. So what I'm doing right now, right, is I'm holding it at this angle so that the fluid can fill through the whole entire caliper, and then all the bubbles should hopefully be sitting at the top. And I'm gonna tap it lightly, just lightly, right, with the wrench, just like this. And the reason for that is I'm trying to get these bubbles to come up to the top here. You wanna make sure you leave this pad spacer in there so you don't hurt yourself when you're bleeding. Don't screw up your bleed. That's actually starting to be a pretty decent bleed already. Boom, just got some more air bubbles out. Now, I'm gonna hold it like this so that the bleeder valve, whether it's, like I said before, whether it's on this side or whether it's on this side, because it can be either one. You want that to be the highest point. So the bubbles right now have to make it to right here. And then when I open it, boom, they come right out. Boom, they keep coming. Boom, boom, hole. Oh, we are so close right now, just about prime. So you might notice a little bit of fluid leaks out right around your nipple when you're bleeding. That's not the end of the world, but you do want to wipe it off so it never gets on your pads, because that would possibly be the end of the world. Wow, that right there, that is a good bleed. I'm gonna keep doing this just a couple times just to make sure there's no little tiny sized bubbles hiding. Oh yeah, you can see right there, there's at least 3 or 4 of them that just popped out. Tiny little things too. Now, when I believe that the bleed is good, I'm gonna tighten the bleeder valve down all the way, wipe around that little bleeder nipple valve, make sure that we got all the fluid off, it's nice and clean now. Toss the little nipple cover on, like so. Back over here at the master cylinder, before you put this cap on, this is the little doohickey that sits in there, right? So it goes to about here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some brake fluid, fill it up to that point or just a little above, right? Now I'm expecting it to come out and spill all over the place when I put this in. That was actually perfect, just barely any spilled out. But the reason that you wanna do that is to make sure that your master doesn't have air in it. If there is air in there, there's a chance you get that stuck down in your line later, and then you're like, oh, I had this great bleed, why is it not bled anymore? And the reason it's not bled anymore, because when we put this cap on, there's a bunch of air in here and it got sucked right into your line. Boom, tighten this baby down. These little screws right here, they're tiny and they're Phillips head for a reason. You do not need to put a lot of torque on them. That right there is good, that right there is good. Now, who wants to do 90% of a job and not make sure it's perfect, right? So before I go throw this on the bike, just one more time. Oh yeah, you see that? I got a little bit more of a turn out of there. That is perfect. They're called crush washers for a reason. You want to crush them so that no air can get past them. So after you've bled, it's sat for a couple minutes, you know, give it a little crank. You don't want to go super hard and try to snap it off by any means, but if it feels like it's going to move a little bit like it did, let it move a little bit. You can see right there, I really couldn't get any more. That is perfect. Down here on the caliper, right, I'm gonna do the same exact thing. Just double checking, making sure, oh yeah, that baby didn't move a bit. It is nice and tight. And then of course, take your wrench, double check your bleeder valve. I have had one of these open up because I did not tighten it enough. I was halfway through a ride out, opened up, went all over my rotor and my pads, ruined my pads and my rotor. It sucked. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is how you bleed a Surron ultrabee foot brake, go shop FactoryZ, use code Zilly, and get yours today. It is the same process for a Surron, E-Ride, Talaria Moto foot brake. They're all the exact same. In the next video, I'm gonna show you guys how to install the foot brake on the Surron ultrabee. I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace.